Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Now, today's video, I'm going to be going over the rise of the divine feminine. Now, I received this download around Friday that told me to talk about this subject. Now, I'm recording this on a Saturday and I'll be uploading this on Sunday, so you'll be seeing this video on Sunday. But I received this download telling me to talk about the rise of the divine feminine, the rise of the divine feminine energy. Now, we all know that the world is filled with toxic masculinity, right? We see all these wars, this chaos, violence, crimes, all these sorts of different things that are being taken place in the world today. And the reason behind that is because of the suppression of the feminine, right? The sacred divine feminine, the sacred divine feminine that overshadows and that overpowers this entire universe, right? The universe is imbued with divine feminine energy, and the divine feminine energy has been suppressed for a very long time, and I believe it's been done on purpose, right? So in today's video, I'm going to be going over the rise of the divine feminine and why the divine feminine plays an important part in our everyday lives, and why it's important for us to embrace the feminine, and why it's important for us to embrace the love that the divine feminine energy brings forth. All right, so let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get started. Right, so as I mentioned in the beginning, the divine feminine has been suppressed for millennia. The divine feminine has been suppressed for a very long time now. You can see it in the world right now. Chaos, wars, crime, violence, etc. Right? You see it all over the world. You see it within different regions within the world. Right? The feminine, the woman is being suppressed. Right? In certain regions of the world, women can't wear certain things. They have to be covered up. Women, don't have as many rights as the men do. They can't do certain things unless the man tells them to. Just the woman in general doesn't have the overall freedom that they should have, right? So the reason for this is because we have secret groups of men, right, who run the world that know nothing about the divine feminine or know how powerful the divine feminine energy is, and they try to suppress it, right? So we have, these different groups, these elitist groups that we, know nothing about specifically, that run our world, that run our government, that run our system, right? And I believe that they either know nothing about the feminine energy, or they know about the feminine energy, but they try their hardest. They try the best of their abilities to try to suppress the divine feminine, right? So when you have a world, when you have people, especially the majority of men running the world, it's going to come down to, the world being influenced by masculine energy, especially toxic masculinity, right? So you have a lot of people who label certain things as toxic masculinity that I necessarily don't agree with. Some people take it too far. But in this case, in this scenario, when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, and when you look at it from a bigger picture, the world is being ran by toxic masculinity. Think groups such as, the Bilderbergers, the Freemasonry, Trilateral Commission, all these different groups, all these different secret societies that run the world. These groups are operated by men, right? These groups are operated majority by men. So there's no type of, feminine insight, no type of balance between the masculine and the feminine. Everything is being ran by toxic masculinity. So there are many other things in our world that play a big part in it as well, such as Christianity and the Roman Catholic Church. For example, God being described as He, right? You see it throughout the Bible, and you see it when majority of the people talk about God. even I slip up at times, and even I have been, caught up in this as well. We describe God as a male figure or male deity or an old white man with a beard waving his wand, granting people's wishes and this, that, and the third, right? We describe God as a he. We describe God as a male figure. Well, in my opinion, I believe that God is man and woman combined. See, within this third dimensional realm, we live in duality. We live in polarity, right? We have, masculine, feminine, male, female, all these sorts of different things. We live in a world in polarity. Now, God, you can't put God in a box. We can't label God as a man, or we can't label God as a woman, because God is above man and woman. God is above masculine and feminine. God is above polarity. So that's why, in my opinion, in my belief, I believe that God is man and woman. God is masculine and feminine combined, right? It's all about balance at the end of the day. Eve being blamed for the fall of humanity. Now, if you believe in the creation story according to the Bible, we all know that Eve was influenced by the snake, right? Eve ended up eating the apple, the forbidden fruit from the tree, right? And that has caused the fall of humanity. That's what caused the fall of mankind. That's when the first creation of sin. That was when sin was first created by Eve, by eating the forbidden fruit, right? So Eve is being blamed, and Eve is being put on the forefront for the fall of humanity, okay? And then according to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 12, it states that women are forbidden to teach, right? The woman should not be able to teach. And when in the presence of a man, the woman should be silent, right? So there are many different things within the Bible that, talks about or tries to alleviate or try to downplay the woman, right? We all know that the woman is, far more intelligent. The woman is far more advanced. The woman is far more smarter than the man, right? But we have things such as, within Christianity, within certain parts of Christianity, and the role that the Roman Catholic Church was trying to play in the world, it tries to downplay the woman, okay? But we all know how powerful and how advanced and how sacred and potent the divine feminine is, all right? And then as well, within the Bible, in Mark, it talks about that the man and the woman need to become one. The man and the woman become one flesh, okay? So you notice how contradictory the Bible can be at times, right? They talk about that the man and the woman need to be made flesh. They need to be made whole. They are both equal. They need to be equal, right, in the rights of God, because they are equal in the rights of God. But at the same time, the woman should not be able to teach, right? The woman has no right to teach, right? Especially the word of God, right? Like I said, the woman is far more smarter and more intelligent than the man, okay? So in ancient civilizations, such as ancient Egypt, knew how powerful the divine feminine was. They respected their feminine counterpart and understood the importance of balance between the masculine and the feminine. That's why it was able to thrive for so long, and they were able to live in harmony. Now, in ancient Egypt, we have different supreme female deities and goddesses such as Ma'at, Isis, all these different individuals, right? And the god had respect for their goddess. They had respect for their feminine counterpart because they knew how powerful the feminine energy was. They knew how powerful the divine sacred feminine was, right? And they always gave forth to the goddesses. They always respected the goddesses. They always respected the woman. They respected the female, right? But we don't see too much of that in today's society, right? We don't see that as much in today's world as it was during the ancient times, especially in ancient Kemet, especially in ancient Egypt, right? So when it comes to the divine feminine, we need to, learn more about, the sacred feminine, the sacred feminine, in order for us to have more balance, in order for us to have more understanding about ourselves and the world around us. I want to go over some key points on why the woman in the sacred divine feminine is so important, right? So the first point, the woman has an XX chromosome, while the man has an XY chromosome. So the woman has a complete chromosome with the two X's. Now you notice with the man has an XY chromosome. So if you draw a line within the Y, it forms a complete X, right? But for the man, when you take the one line away from the Y, it becomes the letter Y. So the man has an XY chromosome. The women have a complete double X chromosome, while the man has just an XY chromosome. So the woman, or the womb man, is the giver of life, right? Male and female. So the woman has the womb, and she's able to create life, and life is able to come out through the womb of the woman, right? So male and female come from the woman, right? And women, and when you look at it from the grand scheme of things, the woman gave birth to the universe. The woman gave birth to the world, and the woman is the giver of life. So the universe is imbued with divine feminine energy, right? When you study the universe, when you look at the universe from a wider lens, right? We all realize that the universe is imbued with feminine energy. The universe is imbued with creative feminine energy, right? The universe was created through the mind. And we all know when we use our mind to create things, when we use our mind to manifest things into reality, that is feminine energy. We are utilizing feminine energy to create life, to create things, to create objects, to create realities, right? This is all feminine. This is all feminine energy. So the woman uses all vitals of her body while the male doesn't, right? So you know that the woman uses her mammary glands to, breastfeed, to give milk to the children, right? And you ever notice that we men, we have mammary glands that we don't even use. We have nipples that we don't even use. So the woman is able to utilize all the vitals of her body. And men, we as men, we have certain vitals with on our body that we don't even use. So we don't even use all of our body like the woman does. Okay, so the subconscious, or the feminine aspect of our mind, encompasses 90% of our consciousness, compared to the conscious part of our mind, which is the masculine part of our mind, which only encompasses 10%, right? And when we combine these two, when we combine the subconscious with the conscious, that transforms into the super consciousness, right? So the subconscious is the feminine aspect of our mind, which deals with creation, which deals with creativity, intuition, emotion, music, and all these other different things. And the conscious part deals with like logic, reasoning, analytics, problem solving, and all these sorts of different things, right? But when we combine these two, like I said, it forms the super consciousness. It forms, the third eye, the spiritual eye, right? The heightened vision, the heightened awareness. So all in all, guys, remember, this doesn't put the man or the masculine down. So I'm not putting the masculine down, I'm not putting the man down. I'm not saying that the man is insignificant or anything like that. I'm just bringing forth the awareness and trying to uplift and trying to usher in the divine feminine energy, the new divine feminine energy, right? Because like I said in the beginning, the world is being controlled and manipulated through masculine energy, through masculine eyes, through the masculine brain. And that's why there's so much, suffering and chaos and indifferences and hate and bigotry and all these different things that exist within the world, right? So I'm not putting the man down in this video. I'm just bringing awareness and trying to usher in the divine feminine energy that's been suppressed for millennia. Okay? God is both masculine and feminine. I mentioned that as well in the video too. God is both man and woman. God is both masculine and feminine, right? And we need to be able to harness these two energies together in order to have peaceful, prosperous lives. I believe that'll be able to solve one of the things that'll be able to solve the world's differences and all the things that are happening in the world today, right? In order to have world harmony and peace, there needs to be balance between the two energies. So I need to, I'm trying to, make sense out of this and trying to relay this message. There needs to be balance between the masculine and the feminine. The feminine can't exist without the masculine, and the masculine can't exist without the feminine, right? So there needs to be some sort of harmony, not just with the man and the woman in the flesh, but within us as well, right? The man and the woman exist within all of us, right? The man and the woman, the masculine and feminine exist within all of us. So once we come together, right, as flesh as well as in spirit, between the masculine and the feminine, then there will be, more peace. There will be more prosperity. There will be, more loving energy and more, prosperity within the world. Because we all have our differences. We all have our, problems and things of that nature. But once we come together, once we harmonize the masculine, the man that's within us, when we harmonize the feminine, the woman that's within us, that's when we become whole beings, right? I believe that will also help with our relationships as well. When we know our roles, when we play our part, and not believing in the fairy tales that the Matrix tries to tell us, believing that we as men, we need to hide our emotions, we need to suppress our emotions and things of that nature, become alphas all the time, be all aggressive and all these sorts of different things, and the woman needs to do this and that. If we just learn more about ourselves, learn more about the man and the woman within us, and utilize the man within us and utilize the woman within us, and just learn more about ourselves in general, I believe our relationships with each other will be better. The relationship between the man and the woman will be better. There will be more harmonious relationships. Not to say relationships are going to go 100%, 100% positive, but we're able to settle our differences. We're able to learn more about ourselves, and once we learn more about ourselves, we can learn more about our partner. We can learn more about our significant other, our husband, our wife, right? So this is the rise of the divine feminine, right? We need to, embrace the feminine, embrace the divine feminine, because she's coming, right? She's been suppressed for a very long time now. She's been suppressed for a very long time. And now it's time for her to come back up again and to create the new earth, right? Usher in this new energy and usher in this new wave within the new earth, right? So till next time, and always remember, all power resides from within, and always keep the faith, because God in the universe is always looking for you. Take care, guys. God bless.